Now, I don't know about you, but riding in the dark is not something I quite like or enjoy doing. Now, if you're riding around in the city, that's all well and good, isn't it? But once again, we are at the local dealership after a bike night on Thursday. It's the last one of the season. That's a bad gear change. One of the members of staff was putting up some bollards in the car park, which you use to stop undesirables, let's say, from getting in and out. And unfortunately they don't really have any reflective strips or anything on them, so someone has already clipped one of those on their motorcycle. It was a Ducati. It was kind of an oldish one, I want to say 10 years plus, but the fact is it's still a Ducati. We just saw a bunch of fluid leaking out the side of it and assumed the worst, but thankfully that was just the overflow pipe spitting out all the unburnt fuel, and then that was that, all job done. And the guy who came off was just almost like dumbfounded about it. He was like, how the bloody hell did I do that? In good spirits, bless him, you know, what a lad. So commendable attitude to that. But you know, on the reflective side of that, I mean, he'll go home feeling like a tit, and then he'll be able to laugh it off even more later on, or, you know, say, oh well, don't worry about it, he'll get a new mirror or handlebar end thing, and it's all fine. That's all well and good. For the rest of us, maybe we wouldn't have taken that so well. I myself, you know, I will happily admit that I tipped over the bike I was riding in the US. I did it at a gas station after coming in. I was following Cockney in, and there was a car coming from my left, and my brain just thought, I don't know what to do. So it did what it would do. Forget the bike's in third gear, stall it, and then the bike just went down this very small little slope, and then just put it down gently. Really gently at that as well. But I got off that bike dehydrated, tired. The first thing that came out of my mouth, you can imagine the the F-bomb I dropped was quite substantial, but that was all part of the experience. I can look back on it now and think, yeah, that's something I've definitely learned from. But you can imagine the many dangers that there are riding during the night. You're less visible. If you're one of these bikes which have the additional lights on the front handlebars, yeah, sure, an extra light bar on the front of the bike, that's the one, then it can look like there's two individual lights. Now if you see in the mirror behind me just there, if you can get a good angle on it, is that two different bikes or is that a car? Sometimes you can't tell. So if you've got one of these bikes with the multiple lights on, then do be warned, people may pull out in front of you. We don't know if that's a car or two individual bikes. I'm going to assume it's a car because I can kind of tell it's a car. This one here, you got one light out, kind of, haven't you? Naughty, naughty. But it's little things like that. Is it a bike? Is it two bikes? Is it a car? You don't know. So that can also be a factor in riding during the evening. The lights in front of us here, I can't really see too much of the road, to be honest. It's not a great look. And we're going to go down an even darker bit now, because why not? It's the evening, we love it, don't we? Yes, we do. He goes. So this is the way I normally go when I'm riding back from the dealership, and this is the first time I'm actually taking this road basically in the pitch black. So the only thing really keeping me aware is oncoming traffic with the high beams on, thank you very much, and my LED light which I've got in the front here. So I'm kind of riding half blind. Fun is not a word I would use to describe the situation, but it's a word I use anyway, because as they say, mad dog's an Englishman, and we take it as it comes. So if you are an experienced rider in the dark, then by all means throw something down below, any of your top tips, something I can come up with straight away. slow down. It's not a race, especially during the dark. We can see some signs in front of us, that's great. But what is actually in front of us? Well, it tells you there's a right-hand turn there on the bridge, and the road says slow. Fantastic. So if we hit this at 60 mile an hour, we wouldn't really see any of this coming, would we? And we just have to trust that the people on the opposite side of the road know how to stay on the opposite side of the road. The second one, I mean, this should probably be the first tip really, but it's the second one I'm thinking of off the bat. Some reflective clothing. Now, a lot of biker gear these days seems to have reflective bits and bobs put in it. Some of it's good, some of it's poor. Backpacks also have reflective bits and bobs as well. Or you can get like a reflective strip from your local outdoorsy store or something like that, and it's just like a little snap plastic thing. You whack it onto your wrist and it wraps around your arm or whatever, and it's just a little reflective strip, and that can be surprisingly handy when it comes to being visible. Now, being on a bike, of course, you're not a large vehicle, so you're going to be smaller, and smaller things do appear to be going faster at all times. That's a fact. There is a word for it. There is a scientific word for it, but I can't remember it because my memory is like a sponge. Tip number 3, lighting. Now, if I pop my full beams on, wha-bam, there we are. Now I can see a lot more. And do be courteous. Whenever someone's in front of you, you see the headlights of another vehicle coming, put your lights back down again. It's not hard. You'd be surprised how many people don't do it. Either they forget or they're just nasty, nasty people. Is there any information you can share? Or maybe you've seen someone else discuss it on a forum, or there's another video on YouTube somewhere discussing this matter. Because the more information we have, the more knowledge we can share. Information is power. And if it's the power to stop someone from coming off their bike or coming to an untimely end because, for whatever reason, because of whatever person, then yeah, so be it. Help one, help all. It's very good. Now, being the front of 3 riders here, I don't see myself as a leading type, but I do have an LED on this bike which makes the headlight significantly brighter, which is amazing. Ta-da. Than the stock one. I can see a lot more here. I can actually see the grass is green, for example. Who knew? Even during the dark, the grass is still green. It helps because you're going slower. You can also give people a heads up behind you, so when you are coming up to a corner, just tap the brakes a few seconds earlier. Makes them aware that there's a corner coming up, and they have more time to react to stuff. Because when you can typically see less, more time helps significantly, and we all love more time, don't we? Yes, we do. Now, normally you can see a bloody great big view down there, but unfortunately today it's all kind of, well, it's black, isn't it? It's black as night. Ha 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 ha. Oh, Red, you are a funny one, aren't you? Always being aware, always being double sure of what you're doing. Another tip I can give you riding during the evening is try to stick to roads you do know. And by that I mean, I know there's a turn off there, so when there's a car coming from my left, be it how fast they were going, maybe they were late on the brakes, or they were just driving normally and it looked worse because I can't see much due to the low levels of light. But I know there's a turning there, so I know that someone's going to come from that direction. Fantastic. So there's no need to panic. So they say. But it helps. If you know it's there, then you know typically how people are going to react, and vice versa. You know where the corners are, you know where the lines are on the road. So if you were to go, well, let's say, coming from that direction there, if these white lines here were faded, you wouldn't know that you have to give way there. And there's nothing worse than not giving way, be it during the day or during the evening, especially during the evening, because all of a sudden you giving way not happening, being dark as well, it's well, you're on a motorcycle, so you're not exactly visible as it is. it can have a bad ending, and we don't want to see a bad ending, do we? Absolutely not. Now there are some beautiful scenes of riding during the evening. The sunsets, for example. I mean, we've got the last bit of that over there. It's a beautiful red into very faint sky blue into a very dark blue of night. Put my leg out to sight there. Watch out for the something there. There we go. We're fine. Whew. Yeah. That's a good point, actually. Put some reflective things on your legs, so whenever you do see something in the middle of the road, like a dead chicken, for example, or whatever the hell that was, you can stick your leg out and just like direct people to where the obstacle is, and then that way they know, oh crap, there's something in the middle of the road, better swerve left or right. Maybe not swerve, that's a strong word, isn't it? They can angle their vehicle around the obstacle. There we are. There we are, we got it. So I think I shall leave it there. Have yourselves a lovely weekend. As always, have a good one. And what more can be said apart from ride safe, my gosh, ride safe. It's the nights are drawing in, it's getting colder. Your reaction times and controlling the bike are probably going to suffer because of it. I don't care how tough or whatever you think you are. The moment your hands and arms start getting cold, you're going to feel it and you're going to notice it as well during your riding. So wrap up warm, ride safe, take it easy, slow down during the evenings, and of course have fun. Have fun as always, but not too much fun that it's dangerous. Aha. Ta for now.